This is the Stockwell Roche Show, giving you real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Josh Roche.
Good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
And you're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show every Sunday at 10 a.m. here on AM 1280 The Patriot. Great week, and we have a great show for you today. We have Maddie B. with Grading Home Mortgage in-house.
Hello, hello.
And we also have Lindsey Brown and Luke Jenkins. Did I pronounce both those correctly?
Yes.
Absolutely. Welcome, Lindsey
Brown
down. And Luke Jenkins. I'm horrible with pronunciation.
Those are easy. I like
easy.
those.
That's why I go by Maddie B.
We will be diving in and talking to them at length about what they do in their business, and it's to help seniors. So if you have a loved one or if you yourself have questions about what or having problems at home, or you're thinking of maybe a senior living or looking at options, we have a great show for you today because they're going to be talking about what they can do to help you. Mortgage real estate update, Josh. What's happening in the market?
What's happening in the market? Okay, well, this based off what I'm going to read some numbers. This is based comparing where the market's at today versus where it was at last year. New listings we're down 0.03% from August last year to this year. Not a big deal. Pending sales we're up 12.2%.
Big deal.
That is a big deal. That means people are putting in some offers. We're seeing offers getting accepted. There's multiple offers out there on a lot of stuff right now. Closed sales, we're up 7.8%.
Another big deal.
That is a big deal. Months on the median sale price, we're at 224.9. We're up that's 2.7% up increase. The average sale price, 267. That's up 2.3%. And then inventory. One thing that I look at, and I see the inventory of homes for sale, we're down actually 13.6%. Now
From this time last year.
Wow. That's a big number.
That's really cool. So if you or a loved one also is thinking of a career change and want to get into real estate sales because it's so great, you might want to give Josh or myself a call.
We do some recruiting.
Go to tcrealestatehour.com or give us a call at 651-400-0773. But all in all, what I just heard, Josh, is that it's pretty darn good out there for buyers and for sellers.
It's really good for the sellers because you're looking at the inventory of homes. You know, we're down 13.6%. We see the pending sales up. People are out there buying houses, taking advantage of low interest rates. If you want to sell your house, it's a great time to do that right now.
That's awesome. So we were overshadowed by the Republican debates, which was entertaining and fun to watch this last week.
Super fun.
But there's one other big piece that just happened this week.
Yep.
Maddie B., what's happening in mortgages?
They're talking about a rate hike.
Is it unchanged or changed?
We actually just saw
recently that it was unchanged. But is that just to scare people?
Honestly, in my opinion, after everything I was reading throughout the last week as they started announcing things on CNBC, most of Wall Street's hedging against them doing the increase, which it didn't happen. But
they're going to at some point.
It's coming. It is coming.
But that means these numbers are going to keep staying very solid, I think, on the numbers of the sales that are happening. And
depending on the weather, too. We got to remember the weather. We're coming into the winter season.
Some great weeks here. So what else happened to Maddie B in lending? That's the big news is they're unchanged, but what else is happening?
As far as interest rates, they're still low. We're still looking at, like Josh is saying, tons of multiple offers coming in. People, I've had 4 deals in the last week that pre-approval letters out, another pre-approval letter out because they're not getting the property that they wanted. They're not getting the first one they chose.
And we're running into. I've put in like 6 offers this week, and I think of the 6, 5 of them were multiple offers.
Yeah. Multiple offers, yeah. So if you have a nice property and you've been waiting, and usually, I was talking to a lot of people in June and July about not waiting to the fall, and trying to get their home sold before that, but fortunately for them, if they were due to circumstances weren't able to sell then and wanted to go on the market now, it's been
still
really good.
Great time.
We've been very fortunate, unlike last year. So again, every year is different, every week is different, and things can change. So always feel free to reach out to Josh, myself, Maddie B., and we'll be happy to help and answer any questions on what the current situation is in the market and also what the current situation is with your particular home or your buying situation to give you good advice on that, because in order to be in multiple offers, you have to do a few things right in order
Yeah.
to get that situation to happen. So.
And it all goes back to luck favors the prepared. You need to have a plan put in front of you. So if you're thinking about buying or you're thinking about selling, if you're selling a house, you may not know what your credit looks like in regards to qualifying for the next place. Some people just don't have a clue as to what their credit score is. When I have those conversations, well, I have no idea what it is. It should be good, and sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Well, it's a competitive market out there, and I think it's what Maddie's saying is correct. You do need to have that competitive edge out there. With such a
you're going
competitive
in.
market, you need to have your real estate agent on your side. You need to have your lending plan set aside. You need to know exactly how much money you need to have in the bank. There's a lot of factors that factor into it, and not everybody knows what's going on with their credit score. So that's another thing you got to look at too. Is hey, is there some hiccups on my credit score that I got to take care of? So when the time is right and I do find that house,
You're the winning bid.
you
You're the
have that
best
competitive
bidder.
edge to get that. Yep. The
Now,
home.
one of the other things I was looking at here too is some. This came out from RIS Media. First-time homebuyers are scooping up more properties. It's up 32% from last year, and we're starting to see investors kind of back out a little bit.
I work with investors a lot as well, and they're having a heck of a time. It's so difficult right now to
make money.
Yes, to find opportunities
Yep.
to actually do a rehab and sell, and also because the foreclosures are so low, which is very fortunate for the overall market, but it is tough for investors. So guess what? I talked to 2 or 3 people that are investors and friends with my wife too, and we're trying to plan get together. Guess where they are? Florida.
Buying property.
They're leaving the state for other opportunities because it's so difficult here and it's so competitive, and there's just not as many available.
Because we're back to a more traditional market. We're not finding those homes that you can get that $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 gain on right now. We're traditional market again.
Florida, that's where it's at. So if you want that type of gain, you can go to Florida or
The Dream Finder team will be licensed in Florida.
And the Your Mortgage Guys team
October.
is going to be helping Josh with that because we are licensed in Florida as well.
Perfect.
You guys are licensed in Florida? Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people. We did a show on timeshares, and it was from an agent down there in Florida that specifically sells timeshares only. And that was a very valuable
kill
show.
it.
So, yeah. And if you ever want to see past shows, go to our YouTube channel and look up Stockwell Roche, and you'll find it on there as well. That was a super good show about the timeshare and the scams. It was about timeshare scams.
Is that the one that you had that green stuff in your teeth and...
Maybe.
Yeah, okay,
I don't know
perfect.
what
Okay.
it was. But,
Awesome.
but anyway, other market updates on it. Unemployment has been great. This is from Elliot Eisenberg. We're talking about with him again. Unemployment is low, and monthly job growth vastly exceeds the number of new job entrants. And the bad news is wage growth has been flat for years, stagnant. That's the biggest problem. Prices keep going up. Josh is talking about, Maddie B's talking about on the housing, but the wage growth hasn't caught up at all, not even close. So that's something that will have to happen. Either the prices will level off, or the job
Market's gonna come back
or
up.
the job market, or the income of people will go up. Probably the markets or the housing market will flatten before that happens.
I would assume it will.
Typically, because
It's
companies aren't anxious to give everybody
there's
tons of raises, right?
My brother works for a company right now that he's been at for 4 years. A huge company here in Minnesota, one of the pillars, and they're
the 3 pillars.
well, I'm
No, I'm just kidding.
one of the 3.
No, I'm just kidding.
What color?
I don't know if I don't know if I can just I don't know if I can just put the bullseye right on them right now, but they are moving his entire department, which is credit analyzation, to Puerto Rico.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Really?
like they're gone.
Does he have an option to at least transfer there?
Unfortunately, not as much. Not as much. The entire family business is doing some massive shifting right now.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that stuff happens. So you got to be prepared for that as well. Again, Josh, myself, and Maddie B are here to help with that anytime. You're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show every Sunday, 10 a.m. here on AM 1280 The Patriot, helping keep you stronger, safer, smarter. And we're getting to the smarter part right now because we have 2 super smart people in here, Lindsey Brown and Luke Jenkins. How do you like that for an intro, Luke?
That was beautiful.
They are with Tealwood Senior Living, and that's Luke is with Tealwood Senior Living, and Lindsay is with Minnehaha Senior Living. Welcome
you
to the show, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
So glad to be here.
Yes, thank you, guys. Really appreciate the time and coming down. First off, a little bit about yourselves
let's hear your story.
and what got you into the business and what your company or companies do would be great. You
start
guys
out-
can talk as long as you want.
Sure. My name's Lindsay with Minnehaha Senior Living. We're located in South Minneapolis. I just started there about 2 years ago. Being new to the senior industry, I just found through church and other volunteer opportunities that I really had a heart for working with seniors and their families. And so there was an opening here in the South Minneapolis location that really just fit well with the skills and experience that I had. So I do a lot of the business office work, HR, payroll, but also marketing, working with the seniors, looking to see if we're a fit, if we can provide the services and the safe home environment that the family and seniors are looking for. So just working closely with the families to see if we're a fit. If we're not a fit, I'll help them find other resources in the community that may be valuable to them and helping them find a solution.
Nice. Very nice.
Luke?
Well, myself, I work with Tealwood Senior Living, which is the parent company to Minnehaha Senior Falls. Right now, I work with Woodland Heights Senior Living, which is transitional care and long-term care over in Inver Grove Heights.
Okay.
The way that I got involved in senior care was actually because of my grandparents. I grew up in a really small town in Iowa where, there was definitely more tractors and cows than we
Go
had
Hawkeyes.
people. Actually, I went to Iowa State, so
okay. Go Cyclones.
well, thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Nice recovery.
And so it was definitely my grandparents that got me directly into this role because after college, the job market wasn't there. And so I had taken a job working construction for my uncle. I wished my grandma happy birthday. And she's like, "Oh, look, you wouldn't believe it. You just have the best job opportunity ever." I'm like, "Oh, really?
That's a
What
good
is
voice, by the way. That was really good.
Thank you. I got all sorts of them, but I'll just stick with my grandma for now. After that, she just said, "Hey, Luke, there's this wonderful opportunity over in Iowa, in Northwest Iowa. You're going to be doing, senior care." I'm like, "That sounds wonderful." And so I was working for care initiatives down in Iowa for about 3.5 years. And then I got married. My wife was going to school up in the Twin Cities. And so I was looking for different opportunities. And so then I made my way up north. And I've keep finding myself going more north as time goes on. And I really love the Twin Cities. I love working with seniors. I connect better with people. It's funny because I work with the senior population. My wife works with kids, and we've just kind of decided that we don't know how to talk to people if they're under 70 or over 10 years old.
Okay, that's
That's a good point. Sometimes that might be more enjoyable, frankly.
Right. Actually, it's probably a better conversation.
Yeah.
They're more fun to talk with. Well, great. So we'll get back. When we come back, we're going to talk more about talk more with Luke, talk more with Lindsay about their companies, what they do, and how they can help you or your loved one. So we'll be back soon. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
May your heart always be joyful, and may your song always be sung, and may you stay forever young. Help the agent, 'cause one day you'll be older too. You might need someone who can pull you through.
Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results, and Josh Roche had to step out to an appointment. We're in studio talking about senior living and how Lindsay Brown and Luke Jenkins can help you. We have Maddie B with Grady Home Mortgage in studio as well.
Hello.
And we'll be asking Maddie B later on about financing as well, because as Luke and Lindsay can probably explain later about the costs, and transition is one of the biggest things, or one probably when someone's going in there, once there is a need or once they determine the need to go into assisted home or senior living. So, and that's something that I would definitely encourage you to reach out to Maddie B on with questions about that and how to utilize your current assets or your home, especially the current home. If you're living in a current home or your current residence you've been in for a while, that might be a big tool that you could use. But Lindsay, Luke, I'm going to read the mission statement real quick from Minnehaha Senior Living. Our mission statement is to enrich the lives of those we serve by promoting independence and individuality with compassion, respect, dignity, and choice. And families have peace of mind knowing loved ones are in a secure environment with staff available and assistance for them with meals, housekeeping, utilities, everything all included. So talk a little bit, maybe Lindsay, about your facility that you're managing there. You're the Director of Marketing and Business Relations for Minnehaha Senior Living, where it's located, what type of clientele you have in there, and what's the best fit, and what might help some people if they have someone who may want to consider or is looking at their senior living options right now.
Sure, absolutely. We're located in South Minneapolis on 38th Street and 23rd Avenue, so just about halfway between Cedar and Hiawatha.
Yep. And then as far as the facility itself and the people, are they coming just from, I mean, it's in Minneapolis, or are they all Minneapolis, or do you have people from outside Minneapolis? Who do you serve mostly?
Most of the people that come here are from the immediate community, or their adult children live in the community and they're looking to be close to their children. So we are pretty well ingrained with the community and all that it has to offer. Most of our residents are in their 80s and 90s. Some are over 100.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to have any nursing services. We do include housekeeping, 3 meals a day, some activities programs and wellness programs. But we do have some people that are still independent. They may still be driving a car and having a part-time job, all the way up to people that are enhanced care levels, meaning that they could be pretty much bedridden. So it's our goal to care for people through the end of life. So we partner with different hospice companies or nursing companies to help supplement some of the services we're not able to provide, so that they can stay in their apartment the whole time. They're not having to move around to different areas of the building or different communities as their need changes.
So that's the place where they're going to stay and enjoy for the remainder of the term or their life, is what you guys are set up or most likely wanting to do.
Right. So about 70% of the people that leave our community is due to death. So most people do stay there, through the end. We also have Providence Place on our campus, which is skilled nursing. So they provide skilled nursing services. They have a short-term therapy rehab program as well as memory care. So it works really well to have our sister building right across the street. If one of the residents has a surgery or has a fall and may need some rehab, they can go right across the street. All of our nurses have the same policy, so it's a real smooth transition. Their friends can visit. They can come get items from their apartment if they need to. And then they can have the physical therapist and occupational therapist have an on-site clinic in our building. So their same therapist can follow them back home, make sure they're still rehabilitating, getting stronger and healthier. And it's our goal to help them to maintain that independence.
That's great, especially when you're talking about 70, 80, 90, 100 plus year old folks. So if you or your folks are getting to that age or are at that age, this would be definitely a good option. Is it something that's rental? Is it a rental basis?
It is a month-to-month rental.
Month-to-month,
So
okay.
they don't have to buy in. We don't have any large down payments like some other senior properties may have. So, they can move out any time with 30 days written notice. We also have a contract for elderly waiver through the state of Minnesota. So what that means is when a senior maybe sells their home or goes through their savings and their assets, they can go on to the elderly waiver program and stay in their same apartment and receive state funding for their services and have a reduced rate. So they have that peace of mind to know that if they do spend all of their money on their care, they're still going to be able to stay there. The state will pick up the tab, and they don't have to leave their home.
Nice.
Cool.
What do you guys? What are some amenities? What are some things? Because if I'm going to a place, let's say, or my grandma or mother is putting into a Minnehaha senior living, how is it the most enjoyable? Because if that's going to be the place that I stay until I die, I noticed on your pamphlet here that you allow pets. Is that right?
We do. Cats and small dogs up to 25 pounds. And
So-
animals of all kinds are welcome to visit.
That's awesome. So that type of thing, to make it so that it's livable, just like you could have the same things you had maybe at your house before, is what I'm getting at. Is what other
Right.
things are kind of unique or
So we
make it
provide
more fun, if you will?
Sure. We have activities programs that focus on the 7 dimensions of wellness. We have a seated exercise class every morning. We also have our own bus for group transportation. So every Monday we go shopping to Target or Walmart. We go to a preschool on Thursdays. We frequently go to the Minnehaha Falls, Twins
Nice.
games, the state fair,
Wow.
things like that. We also have a salon on site, a massage room, a whirlpool room.
That's pretty
That
cool.
sounds great, actually.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun things and things that are enjoyable, especially now if you're limited mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Would that still be a a candidate or your facility still be good for somewhat limited mobility?
Absolutely. We have no steps at all in our building. We have elevators. We have all walk-in showers with a fold-down bench. We have handrails down all the hallways, so it's a very safe building for people with mobility issues. We also can provide escorts to and from meals or activities, so there would be someone around to push them if they are in a wheelchair, transfer them in and out of bed or the bathroom. So we can definitely take care of people that may be wheelchair-ridden or non-weight-bearing.
So Lindsay Brown, Minnehaha Senior Living, you can reach Lindsay or go to the website, actually, minnehahaseniorliving.com, minnehahaseniorliving.com. Sounds like a great facility with a lot of things that will be enjoyable for you or your loved one, and very conveniently located in Minneapolis. If you're in Minneapolis or if you're close to Minneapolis, it might be great for you. Luke, as far as the Tealwood Senior Living, the parent company, and they have a facility in Inver Grove Heights?
Yes, sir. That's the one that I work at.
And that is, what is that? What's the difference between Minnehaha Senior Living and your facility that you're at?
Well, Minnehaha is assisted living and independent living and memory care. And the difference between that and what we do is we do long-term care, which is called skilled nursing. And so we have a nurse available 24 hours a day, and we deal with folks that might have more physical or mental deficits that would require them to have a little bit more care, a little bit more structure in their environment. But in the same sense, we still carry a lot of the same principles and the same values throughout all the company. We still have the wellness program looking at the 7 different dimensions of a person's well-being, and that revolves around our activities program. And we actually do have different scheduled activities 7 days a week just because we know so many people find nothing to do. And so we try to engage people as much as possible, engage them on their personal level. And we have assessments when somebody comes into our community, and we say, what is it that's important to you? And then we structure their activities based on their specific requests and so on. Another aspect that what we have is we have a transitional care unit. And what that is after a traumatic event or a hospitalization where somebody says that they're going to need extensive therapy, they would come to the transitional care unit, and their focus would be going to rehab, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, resting and making sure that they have a peaceful environment that focuses on their rehabilitation. In our transitional care unit, we actually have invested in state-of-the-art therapeutic equipment called Accelerated Care Plus. And with that, we have the OmniStim, which is an electronic stimulator, and a personal experience with myself. And I'm so glad that I get to share this with absolutely everyone. I had shingles a couple years ago.
Oh, I thought it was for older people.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of almost speechless right now. Like
when I
my grandfather had it, and it was,
my grandfather had it as well.
Yeah.
When I said I have this rash on my back, and it's like, Luke, that looks like shingles. I'm like, oh my goodness, no. But I ended up going to one of our facilities. They put the e-stim on my back, and after about a 15-minute session, there was no pain whatsoever for about 6 to 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
And there's actually a condition called post-therapeutic neuropathy, I believe. Maybe. And that's what essentially it's when shingles last a very, very long time.
Yep.
And this equipment can help out with that. It's great for arthritis, great for different types of pain management, blood circulation.
So how would someone say, hey, Luke, I have someone or myself or my family member might need your help? Or how do you get people to know about you and get them in your facility? Do you partner with clinics and things like that? Or
Well, we go to clinics. We also go to assisted livings. We go to senior centers, and we just try to have a lot of community involvement. So people are aware of our services. We're also capable of doing outpatient therapies. So, even yourself, if you have any lower back pain, as long as you have a physician's order, you can come in, get yourself set up with the equipment, and then, go back standing a little bit taller and smiling a little bit wider.
Oh, cool. I love it. So that is Tealwood Senior Living, and Luke can be reached at luke.jenkins@twsl.com, and Jenkins is JENKINS, luke.jenkins@twsl.com. And we'll have all the information for Luke and Lindsay on our website on tcrealestatehour.com and on the Stockwell Roche Show on Facebook. You'll find us there. We'll be back more talking with Maddie B., Luke, and Lindsay. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
I'm not ashamed to say. Don't blink. Just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up.
Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results. Josh Roche is out for the last part of the show here. We have Maddie B. with Grading Home Mortgage in studio.
Hello.
And Lindsay Brown and Luke Jenkins talking about senior living, and we learned about their facilities, what they do last segment. Question I had for both you guys, Lindsay and Luke, is how do you work with a lot of people that are not your client directly? So I imagine, Lindsay, your facility, you have 80, 90, 100-year-old folks in there who are awesome, probably super fun, and have had a lot of life experience, maybe a little stubborn too in their place that they're at, maybe don't want to move. You're working with their children or grandchildren or both, or siblings or whatnot. How do you handle situations where someone may not want to move into your facility, or is it all just only people that come to you and want to be in there? Or is there any training or any help with that with folks?
Sure. And unfortunately, a lot of times it is an emergency for those people that don't want to move. They might end up having a fall or something in their home and go to the hospital or rehab and learn that it's no longer safe for them to be alone in their home. So those people are usually a little bit more willing. The ones that are pretty still independent and healthy and they're really not quite ready to make a move, a lot of times I invite them in for a tour. They can see that it's a community. It's really their home. It doesn't have a stark facility type feeling, but more of an apartment home or a nice hotel type feel. So just getting them in the door, they can come and have lunch or join in an activity just to get a feel for the building and the other residents and what it might be like to live there. We can also talk about the safety feature. If they're in their own home taking laundry up and down the stairs, maybe it's a better idea to get into a place where it's all one level. We can do the laundry for them.
Yep.
Or just make it easier for them to do their own laundry by providing different amenities.
So if you know someone or are someone who is worried about a potential fall or something like that, don't wait. Just like that song said, or one of those songs said, don't wait. Be proactive, start searching things out and finding a place before something happens where it is an emergency, and then you're in the emergency room, and that is the last time then that you would have been in your home. That's not necessarily the best way to leave your home. You maybe want to leave on your own terms, if you will, and leave in a positive way so that your last memory of your home isn't falling down your steps after you've been there for 40 years.
Yeah.
Your last memory is, hey, saying goodbye and having Josh or myself sell your home and getting your check and being happy. That might be a very good way to do it.
That would make me really happy.
Speaking of that, as far as financing, Maddie B., is there any specific things that might help folks if they have a situation where they have someone they're worried about how to pay for it, and maybe they have some assets so they don't qualify for the Minnesota, is it Minnesota Care?
Elderly waiver.
Elderly, they don't qualify for the elderly waiver yet, but they still don't want to maybe sell their home, or maybe it is an emergency and they have an accident, heaven forbid, and then they go into assisted living here and they need money at that point.
There's going to be some things that would have to take place. I was thinking about this when you brought it up originally. I was thinking a reverse mortgage, but I'm pretty sure that the husband and wife both got to be in the house. One can't go into assisted living. You can't do a reverse mortgage in one person's name. It's got to be in both of unless one's passed on. Then you can do it in one person's name.
And if there's only one and they have an accident and they're not moving back in the home.
Yeah, you're not getting a reverse mortgage. So I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe the family coming in, like son, daughter coming in, or grandchildren coming in, maybe taking and being deeded onto the house, because most likely this house is probably free and clear. And if they need to get the cash out, maybe they plan on keeping the house and they're going to rent it out. So my thought would be, let's get you as much cash out of the house as we can with a cash out refinance. Do it as an investment property, because you're going to be renting that place out if you're retaining it, or if you're keeping it, maybe it's going to be your new primary. And
maybe you move in.
You move in, and you just basically, it's like you're buying the house from the person who's going into elderly care.
Yep.
So
that's a great way to think about it and a great way to do it. So If you have questions about that, contact Maddie B, contact myself or Josh. You can always reach us at 651-400-0773, 651-400-0773, and you can go to Stockwell Roche Show on Facebook or tcrealestatehour.com. We're happy to help with any questions in regards to senior living or any real estate questions, or really any questions at all, even if you want to meet and have a cup of coffee or have us look at your house and assess the situation prior to something happening. And sometimes it's a case, like Lindsay said, and I said earlier, where how do you approach your mother or your grandparent? Maybe you do a friendly meeting, not necessarily to trick or pull a fast one, but have a meeting where everybody's there, and that, maybe not intervention like.
I was just going to say, it sounds like an intervention,
but something like that where you express your concerns and everybody can express them openly, honestly, and gently before something happens that would cause an emergency where everybody's in a panic and you don't know what to do, and now what do you do next, and you don't really have the options. When emergencies happen or a catastrophic situation happens, your options don't. You're very limited.
You're limited.
Before it happens, you have loads of options and loads of things to think about. You can talk to Maddie B and get that taken care of ahead of time.
Yep.
Get the finances taken care of ahead of time before the panic and emergency happen. So that's something that really, really,
we stress that a lot in our business. You never know what's
going
to happen.
Way easier said than done. What's a natural sequence is procrastination, right?
Yeah.
It's so
I'm gonna wait until I absolutely have to do it, and it goes back to even clients that we were trying to refinance a couple of years ago. I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna wait. That proverbial I'm gonna sit on the fence. Same with buyers
I'm guilty
and sellers.
of procrastination all the time. I hate to say it, and a lot of times your procrastination, for me anyway, doesn't necessarily happen in my work life.
Happens everywhere
It's in
else.
my personal life situation. The stuff that I need to do for myself is the procrastination piece, because I put so much into the work life, and then I know a lot of people probably do that with other things, into their church life or their family life or whatever it may be, but they're procrastinating their own personal items or their own personal scenario. So that's something that happens with home sellers. They'll call 2 days before they decide they want to sell their house. Home buyers are really procrastinators many times, getting their paperwork in.
You have no
They
idea.
find the house they want and they want to buy it today.
Yeah.
It's not like a car. You're not going to buy it today.
You're not getting it today. We got a few steps we got to get through.
It's a long process, or longer process, and a lot of steps in the process. Same thing with Lindsay and Luke. I'm sure when people go into your guys' facilities, other than an emergency, they're going in there maybe that day or the next day. But if they do it in a way that's not rushed, then they can pick a day that they want to move in and pick some other things and have some more choices in that. Luke, how does that? I know you wanted to share more about your company, Tealwood, and you can do that now. But how does it work with you? Is that emergency situation, or is yours more kind of like, hey, this is the treatment we've been getting, now we want to go in to try your treatment at your facility? Or how does it work for your people that come in to stay at your place?
We kind of see a mixed bag. With the long-term care, generally people, it's the son or the daughter, the niece, the nephew, or a husband or wife that comes in saying, hey, I have somebody, they have this scenario, they can't move, they need 2 people to assist them, they're in an assisted living, we really need more care, can we check out your facility? And so definitely having those tours, and as you mentioned before, having the proactive approach is huge in, making those great decisions of, where will I succeed the most? Now, long-term care is essentially where somebody probably will stay for an extended period of time. That's why it's,
Long-term, yeah.
Absolutely. And
More than a week? Is that what that terminology comes from right now?
well, I guess it all depends.
More than
It's generally more than a month or two.
Yeah.
Somebody's probably going to end up spending the rest of their life with us.
Really? Yeah.
But, sometimes people bounce back. Just depends on the situation. More in the transitional care, that's when we see more of the emergency type situations. And at that point, we connect with the hospital directly. They send over the situation, person's, medical information. Our clinical team reviews it and sees if we would be an appropriate fit for them. And if they're not, we give the social worker and the family, other suggestions of other Tealwood facilities that might be more suited to take this person, or just a different type of environment where they might succeed in.
So back in my head, Luke, I'm thinking, is it similar to being in a hospital then? I'm thinking, from a person staying there, or is it,
That's exactly how I would say it. Over at Woodland Heights, we have the two separate areas. We have our long-term care floor, and then we have our transitional care
Nurses
floor.
on staff and meal service and things like that.
Absolutely. It's the same type of services that we provide. It's just that the environment's a little bit more different. And we try to keep it a little bit more medically centered in our transitional care.
Yeah.
I like to consider folks our patients just because it is essentially an extended stay hospital.
Is it? Yeah.
And in the long-term care, we try to make it as home-like as possible. So that's, where we get people really involved in activities, getting them to socialize a lot. And again, it's good for our transitional folks to socialize as well. But just to kind of see, it's like, hey, there are other people going through these very trying times just as you are.
Yeah.
But, so many people, it's like, nope, I'm not in the nursing home. I am going to eat. I am going to go to therapy. And I am going to be out of here on Thursday. And
I love that willpower too.
We see it
the
all the
mindset.
time, and it comes very much down to a person's own determination and their
like
own
most
attitude
things.
as to how quickly they will succeed.
That is a great thing. It comes down to most people's determination themselves. But we'll be back with one more segment. We have Luke Jenkins, Lindsey Brown, and Maddie Bjorgum in studio. I'm Jason Stockwell, 3 Max Results. We'll be back soon.
I got a few years on me now.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell, 3 Max Results. Josh Roche is out for the rest of the show here. We are in studio with Maddie Bjorgum, Gradient Home Mortgage, Luke Jenkins, and Lindsey Brown. Very valuable information for you today, folks. Hopefully you find it helpful, useful for you or a loved one if you do get in a situation where you do need assisted living or long-term care. There's a lot of options out there, and make sure you're doing your due diligence and your research on it before you pick a facility or a place to go. And I would highly recommend reaching out to Luke or Lindsey. Their information will be on our Facebook page under Stockwell Roche Show. It'll be under our website, tcrealestatehour.com. And you can also go to, or give us a call, 651-400-0773, 651-400-0773. Upcoming shows, we're going to have a show coming up on investing with your IRA, self-directed real estate investing.
That's going to be a great show.
Will be one of our shows on how to do that. People talk about it all the time, but
Needing to know how to do it
it's
is another
very
thing.
difficult to do, and a lot of financial advisors that do regular financial advising don't necessarily know how to do that or do not offer that service. It's a very
correct.
limited service. So holidays are coming up. We're talking with Luke and Lindsey on break with what happens during the holiday. And Maddie B, you said something about interventions happening.
Well, we have. We were talking about like what's the next step on getting someone to having the conversation. I'm thinking, it sounds like an intervention because I watch that show every once in a while. It's interesting.
It is dramatic, isn't it?
I actually saw a movie the other night with LeBron James, and I think it's called Trainwreck, but they did an intervention for this guy, and it was because he was no longer dating this girl. It's a funny movie. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the holidays coming up here. We got Thanksgiving. You're going to be passing the turkey, pass the potatoes. Hey, Mom, guess where you need to go? I don't know how that conversation goes, and Lindsey did mention that they're extremely busy after the Christmas holiday. So I'm thinking, well, this happens around the Christmas tree, passing gifts. So here's the flyer for Grandma.
Yeah, what happens, Lindsey? After the holidays or Christmas, you said you're very busy. Is it because someone has an accident over the holidays, or is it because the parents actually or the kids and the nephews and nieces and everybody's siblings actually had a chat?
Yeah, sure. It certainly could have something to do with the winter weather. Driveways and sidewalks can become very slippery and a big fall hazard. But I think more so the families are seeing their loved one maybe in their own home and watching the way that they get around. Maybe they've got a house where the rooms are small and kind of broken up, and there may be tripping hazards in the way, area rugs, different things like that. And so the family is just observing them in their own environment and realizing it may not be the safest place anymore. They may even have a fall while they're in their home visiting them.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's we don't get to our folks' places as often as maybe previous generations have done.
She's talking about my grandmother. Like that was that, and she passed away. She fell in her own home. She refused to go. We wanted to get her into an assisted living. You kept talking about her friends are passing on and she doesn't have anybody to visit with anymore. We're like, well, you could do this. I don't want to give up my house. Don't want to give up my dog. Knowing about you guys a few years ago would have been great. You know what I mean? It's And I'm listening to you, like the rugs that she had. She was on an oxygen tank that, was tethered all the way down the hallway, and she had broken up rooms, and she had to shuffle. And it's just like, it was hard seeing that.
Right.
It was really hard seeing that.
And they still may be healthy and independent.
Super.
And they could still come to an assisted living, really benefit from the socialization, keeping their mind going, making friends. And they still can have their pet. It's still their own home with a kitchen in their apartment, so they can still cook their meals if they prefer that.
My other grandparents are in something like that. They're up in the Plymouth area, and they love it. They're super active. My grandfather is an amazing man, but he was running the maintenance crew at the place, and he was the one who was organizing all the carpets going into every one of the units when they redid it, and all the remodeling going on. So he was really active. So I saw two different sides of the spectrum, and knowing that there's other facilities that are out there that people can actually go and enjoy themselves while they're there. So
it's emotional, it's tricky, it's tough, it's sad, happy. I mean, it's a lot of emotions at the time you're going on, and that's, I think, like you said, at the holidays when people are there, we don't get to the homes to visit our folks as much. We don't see it. You see the environment. You're like, hey, guys, we got to do something here. Something, mom's not going to do well here. Or maybe they see the loneliness and or some deferred maintenance as one stuff you look at. If stuff starts, going into houses that I see a lot with folks, you see stuff that normally is taken care of, maybe dishes or cleaning or dusting, and you kind of just see that stuff go
a little to the wayside.
And that's when you kind of have a red flag. Those are some things to look out for. And if there is an incident of any sort of accident or fall or slip or anything, no matter how played down or minor it may be played down by the individual, it's
still
a
major.
big deal because it's just lucky sometimes if someone doesn't get hurt further with falls, especially in icy conditions. So,
and I've had some residents tell me just recently that they really love living there and they wish they had moved sooner. That
Really?
there was really a stigma with leaving their house, but
Yeah.
once they got there, they really enjoyed being in the community
Yeah.
and just wish they had made the decision before they got to that point.
Absolutely.
So what's the slogan we could come up with? Because you're not giving up, folks. It's not like you're throwing in the towel and saying, I can't do this anymore.
It's kind of like the Jefferson song, I'm moving on up. I'm moving
you're
into something
there
better.
you go. You're moving on up. It's not like you're giving up and folding.
You're moving up to another. You're moving up to that next level of living. Like you're getting back to what your life probably was like when you were younger, and you weren't so, I guess, I don't want to say stuck, but less mobile, less able to do the things.
Right.
You now have it all right there for you. Instead of having to go out, it's already there.
I have this conversation with folks too, and some of you may have heard me talk about it, but is that you're leaving your place, so it's very sad, and to leave your own home that you're in. But think of what you're doing for someone else.
Yeah.
The next owners or family will be able to utilize your home
Love it as
probably
much as you
better,
did.
and may like it just as much or more than you, and maybe use it the same way or more in a better way than you can use it. So you're utilizing your home for someone else is also great as well, because
It's
it's
like paying
freeing
it
that up.
forward.
Especially in neighborhoods like in Minneapolis and South Minneapolis and Richfield and first ring suburbs and St. Louis Park and Edina and a lot of those places where you have a lot of homes that are or neighborhoods that have a lot of families, startups, or younger people,
That
but
first-time
they're
home buyer
also
program.
trying to get in there. Yeah, that's a great thing you're doing. But you are moving up, so it's not giving up or throwing in the towel or failure in any way. It's actually success and making your life more enjoyable, more fun, and hopefully longer. Maybe live longer. The statistics have shown that sometimes the brain activity and the activity and the friends and things like that you meet
Keeps you going.
keeps you going.
Right. And the physical therapy and the exercises and different wellness programs help them to maintain their strength so that they can keep their independence as much as possible. They can still make the bed and different
Yep.
activities like that. So sometimes a move can actually bring back a little independence that they may have lost when they were in their own home.
Do you guys have nurses on staff, Lindsay?
Well, yes, we have nurses on staff 24 hours a day.
24 hours. Okay, so 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. There's always someone there to.
That's right. They would also have an emergency pendant necklace. So if there was an emergency situation, they would hit the necklace. Our nurses would come running and see what they need, call 911 if necessary. And
And I imagine for sure for you guys on staff,
No, absolutely.
nurses and staff,
Absolutely.
resources.
I guess going back a couple steps, you were talking about, what do you call this? The Tealwood tagline is because the journey matters.
Nice.
And so, every step of that journey, whether you're in your home or whether, you're making the decision to move someplace else, what we're planning to do is to enrich your lives as much as we can so that you can be as happy, as successful as you possibly can. And that's been the Tealwood mission for 27 years that they've been around now.
What is it? The journey matters?
Because the journey matters.
Because the journey matters. I like it. There's
I like
the
it.
slogan.
It's good.
He had it already. We have Justin had it, or Luke had it already. So thanks so much, Luke Jenkins, Director of Community Relations with Tealwood Senior Living. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Lindsay Brown, Director of Marketing and Business Relations with Minnehaha Senior Living. You can go to our Facebook page, Stockwell O'Shea Show, or go to tcrealestatehour.com, find their information. I'll give website for Lindsay is minnehaha.seniorliving.com, and Luke, his email is luke.jenkins@twsl.com. Thanks, Maddie B. with Grading Home Mortgage
Thanks for
again.
having me.
And we'll be back next week with a great show. Remember, love yourself and love others. Have a great week, folks.